So Ghana is facing a massive challenge, one that affects millions of people, the need for a home. But what's really interesting here is that the solution being proposed isn't just, build more houses. They're talking about a total reset of the entire system, and that's what we're going to break down today.
Okay, let's start with a number, 2.2 million. And I want you to just let that sink in for a second. Because this isn't just some abstract figure. It represents the sheer scale of the challenge we're talking about here.
Yep, that's the estimated number of homes Ghana needs right now, according to their latest census. And you got to remember, behind every single digit in that number is a real family, a real person, who's struggling to find a safe, affordable place to call their own. It's a crisis of numbers, for sure, but it's really a crisis of people.
So it brings up this huge question, right? When you're facing a deficit that big, in the millions, where do you even start? It feels almost impossible. But, as we're about to see, a new path forward is actually starting to take shape. Okay, so what's pouring fuel on this fire? Well, it's the force that's reshaping countries all over the world, rapid urbanization. As more and more people flock to the cities looking for work and opportunity, the housing system is just being stretched to its absolute breaking point.
And get this, look at the timeline we're dealing with. By 2040, projections show that over 70%, that's 7 out of every 10 people in Ghana, will be living in an urban area. This isn't some far-off hypothetical future, This is hurtling towards us, and it makes finding a real solution absolutely critical for the country's future.
So you might be wondering, how did the gap get this big? It's not like people haven't been trying to fix it. The real issue, it turns out, is this really tangled web of deep, systemic problems that have been building up for decades.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. It's a whole mess of things. You've got land markets that are all chopped up, making it nearly impossible to get land for big projects. The mortgage market, pretty much out of reach for the average person. Construction costs are not only high, they're all over the place. And check this out, the main tenancy law is from 1963. That's what leads to landlords demanding these insane amounts of rent in advance. It's like a perfect storm that just locks everyday people out of the housing market.
So, when you've got problems this deep, it's pretty clear that just tinkering around the edges isn't going to cut it. All those small tweaks in the past, they just haven't worked. There's a real growing feeling that what's needed now is a total, fundamental reset.
And listen, this isn't just an idea floating around in academic circles. This quote right here is from a parliamentary debate just this year, 2024. The call for a complete overhaul is now coming from the very top, and that's a huge shift in political will. So how do you actually answer a call to action that big? Well, you get all the smartest people in a room. And that's exactly what's going on here. Experts are gathering at this KNUST REIL symposium. You can think of it less like a stuffy conference and more like the design studio where they're sketching out the blueprint for Ghana's new housing future. And what's coming out of this isn't some single magic bullet. Instead, it's this really smart, comprehensive strategy built on 4 main pillars that all have to work together, kind of like the foundation and walls of a strong house. Okay, here are the big 4: policy reform, finance innovation, technology, and sustainability. Let's stick with that house analogy. You need the blueprint and the permits, right? You need the money, the modern tools, and of course, you need good, strong materials to build something that's going to last. Let's dig into each one. All right, first things first. You have to fix the rules of the game. That's Pillar 1, policy reform. This is all about getting rid of these ancient laws, like that 1963 Rent Act we talked about, the one that causes all those problems with advanced rent. The whole point is to create a modern, fair foundation that actually encourages people to build and invest. Okay, Pillar 2. This is where we follow the money. It's all about finance innovation. So instead of just relying on the same old bank loans, the idea here is to unlock these massive, untapped pools of money. We're talking about things like pension funds and big institutional investors, getting them to fund housing on a scale that's just never been possible before. Now for Pillar 3, it's all about working smarter, not just harder. And that means technology. We're talking about something called PropTech, property technology. This is everything from new apps to manage rentals to digital platforms that make applying for a mortgage way easier. Basically, how can we use tech to make the whole system cheaper, faster, and open to way more people?
And finally, Pillar 4. This is about making sure what we build today is still standing and affordable tomorrow. We're talking about sustainability, So this means using green building methods to create homes that are really energy efficient. And this is a total win-win, right? It's good for the planet, of course, but it also means lower electricity and water bills for families, making the homes truly more affordable in the long run.
Okay, so a 4-pillar blueprint. It sounds great on paper, right? But we all know a plan is only as good as its execution. So how do you actually turn all these words and ideas into real walls, real roofs, real homes for people?
The answer, and it's a big one, is collaboration. Everyone has to be on board. This slide really breaks it down well. You need the entire ecosystem working together. The government provides the rules. The financial sector brings the money. The private sector actually builds the houses. And academia, they bring the data and the fresh ideas to make sure it's all working. The key takeaway here is that no one group can do this alone. It's impossible.
And to make sure this all doesn't just end up as another report sitting on a shelf, the main goal of the symposium is to produce this, the Kumasi Housing Declaration. This isn't just a summary of what they talked about, it's a public promise, a real commitment from all of these different groups to take specific, concrete actions. It's all about accountability.
Which, of course, brings us right back to the biggest question of all. Can this blueprint on paper actually become millions of homes on the ground? What's different this time is that Ghana has a really comprehensive plan and, maybe more importantly, a coalition of people ready to make it happen. The challenge is absolutely massive, but the strategy is there. The journey's going to be long for sure, but it feels like for the first time, the reset has truly begun.